back, everybody, to another episode of Unsolicited with Sam and Jordyn. I'm Sam, and this is Jordyn, and we have our first couch episode. I'm so excited. Jordyn's here in my house. We're leaving for my bachelorette party tomorrow morning, so she came here from Jersey to spend the night, get everything ready. And I'm just so excited that you're here.
I'm so excited. It feels so crazy to be like sitting next to you, going through our podcast intro.
I know.
We have talked about this. We have wanted the opportunity to do this for so long. So we are absolutely so excited, and we are getting amped for this weekend.
Yes.
So a lot of fun stuff.
Florida.
That's all we're going to be singing
It's
all
one
weekend long.
hell of a drug.
Florida. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, we can actually do things like really in sync this too, because like StreamYard is always like off just a little bit. This is so exciting.
I still can't get over, if you guys were watching our NFL draft live stream episode, me and Sam, I think, had one of our craziest telepathy moments yet. Do you know exactly which one I'm talking about?
Obviously.
We picked I can't remember how it even got set up, but essentially me and Sam made an obscure Harry Potter reference at the exact same second.
No, it was like we literally looked at each other for like at least a minute. Let's just like
everyone watching in the comments too was just like, whoa. And also, speaking of, if you guys were a part of our NFL draft live episode,
yes.
Thank you so much. We had so much fun doing that.
My God, that was already a week ago.
That was a week ago. We have been pumping out content, let me tell you. We had the normal episode, the draft episode, our episode 43 and a half featuring Daryl and Ashton going over the Tortured Poets department, and now we are giving you an in-person couch episode.
Like, the grind don't stop.
Oh my God, we are feeding everyone.
We really are. And today we're going to keep it pretty light, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're going to chill, we're going to hang out, but we figured this is a very good opportunity to have like a big book talk segment.
Yes.
Because I'm grabbing my book, A Court of Silver Flames, which means that I am officially finished with all of the books that are out right now for ACOTAR. And there was supposed to be some sort of announcement today, I heard.
Really?
Like a Sarah J. Maas announcement, but I didn't see anything. Can you look it up?
Yeah, we're gonna fact check and check her Instagram real quick.
Yeah, because I saw it on TikTok, and then my cousin's wife, shout out to Kristen, she texted me too and told me that there was going to be one, but I saw that there was, but I haven't heard anything yet.
I feel like I would have seen people. No, she has nothing up on her story. That was from March 1st. Nothing. Nothing as of right now. I feel like that would have been much bigger news if something
That's
did.
what I'm saying. Like if there was another book in this series that was coming out, I feel like we would have known about it.
And there definitely is one in the works. We just have no information, no timeline, nothing really. Right. Nothing about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to check Twitter and I'm going to search ACOTAR and just see if anything comes up.
That's the best way to get news.
Oh, wait. There's jokes about a post that should have been coming that never did. There's a meme that says the whole bookish community sat waiting for Sarah J. Maas to post something because someone decided to make a rumor that ACOTAR 6 would be announced today.
So it's a rumor.
It's a rumor.
Wow. How dare you? Yeah, First of all, how dare you?
That's a sore subject. You really can't joke about the announcement of ACOTAR 6. So
literally, wait, when did this book come out? Like, how long have people been waiting for this?
That's the one reason that I'm hesitant on starting the Crescent City series, because that's still very much in the works.
This was published 3 years ago.
So, like, we should be getting close. I don't know how far apart they were. Like, I don't know when A Court of Thorns and Roses initially came out.
I'm pretty sure because I remember looking at I'm a big person that, like, checks publishing dates because I'm weird like that.
Cute. No, I love that.
But, like, 2021, I feel like they came out within like a couple of years of each, like 2020, 2021, like
when did
I wouldn't be surprised if
the first search when you type in when did COVID start? When did ACOTAR?
March 17th 2020, something like that.
May 5th 2015 was the first ACOTAR.
Okay.
And there's 5 books, and that was, 9 years ago?
Apart. Wait.
No.
I don't know how to do math.
So there's 5 books, 9 years. So almost like two 2 to 3 years apart ish.
So then
we're right there.
We should be getting another book here, but
in the most respectful way possible.
Hurry the fuck up.
I want to lock Sarah J. Maas in a room until we have ACOTAR 6.
I've been getting so much.
And I would treat her so well.
Yeah.
I would wait on her hand and foot until that book was done.
What do you need, queen?
Yeah, I would do anything. Oh, you know what? You know who I just sounded like?
Oh my God, what?
Tampon. Like, oh, I'm going to lock her up and treat her great, and she's going to produce a book for me.
Oh, how we've come full circle here. Well, let's get into this.
Yes.
Let's get into this book.
I have been dying.
I loved it.
Good.
I loved this book a lot.
I knew you would.
I love, like, again, I understand how people felt about Nesta being, like, kind of a bitch, kind of annoying. Like, you know, it's kind of like, get over yourself. But as this book went on, like, her character arc was so, like, just kept, like, there was no arc. It just kept going up. Like, nothing ever went down for her. And the romance between her and Cassian is literally one of my favorite tropes, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, apart from, like, a good slow burn, enemies to lovers is phenomenal. And I think that's why I also like the whole Rhys and Feyre things as well. Because, like, Rhys comes in and he's, like, basically, well, he, like, they're not enemies per se, but, like, she hates him.
Yes.
And he's like, no.
He's the bad guy.
He's like, no, but I love you. Like, you're so hot. Yeah. And she's just like, fuck off. And he's just like, no, but I want to have sex with you.
I also think Nesta and Cassian is so fun because it's the combination of the slow burn with the enemies to lovers. Because it's like you get the enemies to lovers, then you know that they're fucking obsessed with each other.
Right.
But both are too strong-willed to do anything about it.
Yeah. And
then you're waiting, and then you get a little bit, like the teeniest little sprinkle, and then 200 pages before the next little sprinkle. Like, it was a lot. It was killing me while I was reading it. But I remember when you were finishing Wings and Ruin, and you were like, I'm just waiting for Nesta and Cassian. Like, I can feel it. It's coming. And then you were like, I don't know what to expect for Silver Flames. And I was like, oh, girl, you are in.
No, I'm so happy with how this book played out, because this is what I didn't realize that it was going to change narrators. Like, I had I didn't know if Frost and Starlight was going to be like just a one-off thing.
Yeah.
So when I started this book, I was like, okay, like, we're getting a little bit more Nesta's story, whatever. But I wasn't expecting it. So I thought Frost and Starlight was going to be this. I thought it was going to be the one-off, and this was going to go back to, like, the Feyre story. And that just, like, she's just going off. She has nothing. She's just like, I'm going to do whatever I want. Yes. Sarah J. Maas is just like, you know what? It's time to move on from Feyre and Rhys. Like, it's not overdoing it or anything. But, basically, I was just, like, really obsessed with this entire story. I was really happy with the ending. The second that they went into it and they were just like, oh, we're doing, like, the blood right, like, what's it called? Like, they did, like, the obstacle course. Yeah. I was like, these motherfuckers are going into the blood right. Like, we forgot to say spoilers in the beginning of this, but I hope at this point you guys figured it out.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, they're going to go do the blood right. And then they were just like, no, we're not going to do it. And I'm like, why would you do the qualifier if you're not going to do the blood right?
Yes.
And then then they were forced to do the blood right. And they killed it.
They did. Literally.
Literally killed everyone. But no, I was just like, I kind of wish, the one thing that I was, like, kind of grappling with was, like, how Gwen and oh my god, Emery, I was like, I was gonna say Eloise, and I was like, that's not right. I was happy that they made it to the end and they became, like, that top thing, like, that you can become. I forget the exact name of it, but they win the blood right, basically. And, like, Nesta doesn't. And I was like, I really wanted her to win too, because then it would be like her and Cassian were, like, equals, and, like, that's, like, a big thing for them, is, like, being on the same playing field. And I was like, I get that she's just like, well, I did so much more, and this and that, and blah blah blah, and I beat the queen that was in it for 4 seconds, and whatever. which I feel like she loves doing that with villains.
Yes.
She loves just like sprinkling them, like building them up, sprinkling them in, and then they're gone.
Yes. No, there's like all this like build up. There's like this I can never say this word, and I go to say it all the time.
What are you trying to say?
Ominous.
Ominous?
Ominous. You know what? I should learn. If I can't get a word right 80 times, I should just stop using it. No, I tend to like just make up my own vocabulary. And Brian's just like, sure, I'm figuring this out as I go. It's like Jordan.
It's learning Jordan's language.
It's either I'll use the word right and say it completely wrong, or I will use a word that sounds similar to another word, but in the completely wrong context.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, we know what you're saying, but it's just wrong. But yeah, she creates like this overarching villain and like this like fear instinct.
Yes.
And then they show up and they're like weird and lame. And you're just like, okay, you're not scary. But it's fun. It's in a good way.
No, that is so real. Like they're just like they show up and they're like, I'm a crookedy old queen. And Nessa's just like, all right, get fucked and just die. Yeah. Like, and like the queen's dead. Like, okay, great. I almost lost it when Cassian like says it says that he stabs himself. I'm still trying to figure out the physics of this. That's like, how did it make it look like he stabbed himself without actually stabbing himself?
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if some magic was involved or whatever, but I literally was like, oh my god, Cassian's dead. I always expect somebody to die in these books. Nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
Unless it's like the bone carver.
They get you in different ways, but like the core characters, they make it, which I am so grateful for, because there is so much. It's not fluff, and like it's not like like it's happy, but like there's so much trauma and like dark stuff and chaos that goes along with everything. So you still get like reading them, I'm always shaking, but then they end up okay.
Yeah.
And it's like the last 20 pages you realize everything's gonna be okay. So like it's like
Sarah J. Maas is just like, all right, last 100 pages here.
Yeah.
And just flames come out of her fingers, however, what handwritten type, however her writing style is. Literally, I'm like, every time it never ceases to amaze me. I'm still not over Wings and Ruin.
No, I will never.
I'm still not.
I won't get over Mist and Fury. Like, I also cannot. Speaking of like the rumor and everything from earlier, imagine being her today and like waking up and seeing like ACOTAR 6 is trending, and she's like,
oh,
why?
Fuck.
Like, the book is not done.
She's like, honey?
Did I have that on my calendar?
Did you leak my Google Drive?
Can you imagine if she just keeps it on a Google Drive?
You know, less things are put on Google Drive, if we're being quite honest. I feel like there's things from like the Pentagon that are on Google Drive. Like, password protected. Like, fine.
2-factor authentication.
Yeah. Oh, the 2FA. Like that good old 2FA.
My worst nightmare.
No, literally. But yeah, overall, I'm very pleased with this series. I'm very happy that I read it. And I mentioned Erin a lot during this whole series and how I was like, oh my god, Erin's reading it now. And like, I am where you were. And this, that. Erin finished the series before me. Erin finished the series in a good 3 weeks. And I was like, when she said she was like, oh, did you reach page 571 yet in Silver Flames? And I'm like on like page like 350. And I was like, no. And she was just like, okay, let me know when you get there, because I want to talk about something with you. And I'm like, this bitch. I was like, how dare you? But she reads so fast and she doesn't have the attention deficit. So, you know, it's easy to get.
I wonder what life's like for those people.
I guess we'll never know.
That's the realest thing I've ever heard.
You know, it's funny because I said that to Michael too, and I was just like, how come Erin reads so fast? And he goes, well, she doesn't have the deficit. And I was like, the deficit of what? And he goes, attention? And I was like, oh, right.
Have we talked about our unmedicated ADHD on here before?
We've sprinkled it in.
Yeah,
I think.
Me and Sam are both just raw dogging our ADHD on a daily basis. So.
No, it's fine. I've been doing it for 28 years.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
This is just me.
Yeah.
So.
And literally my mom was saying, she was just like, I love how you and Jordyn like mesh like with everything you do. And I was like, it's because we literally just keep talking over each other. Like that's all we do. It's just like we have an idea and we're like, oh my God, by the way, did you did you remember? Like, and we just like bring up the most random things, and that's how this podcast gets made.
Yes.
Shout out to attention deficit disorder.
I was just gonna say.
This actually, that brings us to our first ad break. This is brought to you by
Adderall.
Adderall.
Please give us some.
Please sponsor us. Oh, this is off the rails.
This is why we don't do in-person podcasts.
It's like we could drive an hour and 10 minutes to each other every Tuesday night, but this is, we have to keep the distance, otherwise it's too powerful.
It's too powerful.
We're going to be spending the next 4 days together. I think that's the most amount of time we've spent together in the last 3 years.
Definitely.
Like consecutively, I mean.
Even when we were working together, at our second job together.
Right.
It was very hybrid, so I was really only seeing you once a week, if that. Usually it was once every other week.
Right.
And we were doing the virtual stuff all day long.
Oh yeah, every day. I mean, we talk to each other every single day, but actually being in person, the universe, I don't think the universe can handle it, to be quite honest with you.
I think it's going to be exquisite and exciting and dangerous for everyone else involved.
Well, sorry, the deficit just took over for a second.
No, okay. Let it go where it wanders.
Should we talk about this as a whole?
Yes. I also want to really get your thoughts on the end, because you asked me on the show, you were like, does it end in a way that feels complete? And I was like, I think so, yes. And I want your thoughts. If the series ended here, what would you think?
I guess I'd come to terms with it, but I have so many questions.
Yeah, me too.
I have so many questions.
What are your questions?
Everything about Elaine and Lucian and Asriel. Everything.
Who do you want her to end up with?
Asriel.
Me too.
Lucian will find somebody else.
Yeah, he can find anybody else.
He's gonna find some wonderful autumn woman, and she's also gonna have red hair in my dreams. And then Elaine is gonna run off with Asriel, who I have to I gotta come clean about something. We don't know a lot about Asriel.
No.
He's the least we know the least about him,
yes.
Which is why I hope the next book is about Elaine and Asriel, the way this was about Nesta and Cassian. I think Asriel is the hottest one, and I love Rhys. I love Cassian too, but Rhys, when I was reading about him, I was like, oh my God, I was like, I'm so obsessed with him. Every time Asriel pops into the picture, I'm like, it's like a jump scare. I'm like, oh, hi, you're here. No, he's so quiet and
the dark and mysterious aspect of him tied in with how gorgeous he's made out to be.
All the fan art that's made, they're all gorgeous. Nobody's ugly in this series.
In this universe.
And there's no bad. I even picture Jurian as kind of hot.
Oh, yeah.
He's a little older with peppered hair and whatever. Don't need to delve too deep into that.
Can I be honest? Talking about him being attractive.
Yeah.
The whole time I was picturing George Clooney. And
Perfect.
I don't know why. I don't know if there was anything, but while I was reading, that's the real person character that I attributed.
See, I would put Pedro Pascal in there.
Oh, he also works.
Yeah, I'm picturing him Game of Thrones vibes,
yes.
and but now he's older. He's got the peppery hair. Forget it. I would lose my shit.
If A Court of Thorns and Roses was casted with a real live action cast and Pedro Pascal was involved in any aspect, I don't think you especially would not recover.
I love Pedro Pascal so much.
She does.
So much. He is for real, my celebrity crush. I love him. Have you seen them on the lie detector test?
No.
Oh my God, he takes the lie detector test and they ask him, they're like, do you think you're a heartthrob? And he goes, no. And they're like, there's deceit in this. And he's like, am I lying? Okay, yeah, I'm a heartthrob.
No, I did. I saw that clip on TikTok.
And he's like, and they're like, do you look at edits of yourself? And he's like, yes.
And you know what? You deserve it, Pedro.
You really do, sir. You really do. But the ending of this, yeah, like I love that they like have this like huge ornate mating ceremony and they get married, the whole 9 yards, and they are in love and they accept the mating bond, which I was expecting that. Like that was like not like like I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Like we all saw this coming.
Waiting for it to actually happen.
Yeah. Although I do have a question. Do the females not know if there's a mating bond? Like is the male the only one that knows?
I have no idea,
because that's what it seems like,
and that's why I'm so curious to see more of Elaine's story. Because she didn't get that mating bond feeling back with Lucian, right. So I want to see if she is the one that like does initiate it with Azriel, if they do go down that road. And then the other thing I really, really, really hope the next book touches on is more, because I think her and Emery,
yes,
I think there's something very real there, and I just really want to see kind of like what that experience is like in this universe.
Fun fact, remember, backtrack a bit, when Erin asked me if I was on page 571.
Yes.
That was that interaction between her and Moore, and she texted me, and like after I got to page 571, like 17 days later, I was like, oh, are you talking about this? And she was just like, oh yeah, like they've got to be a thing, right? And I was like, that's what you wanted to talk to me about? And I was like, yeah, of course they're gonna be a thing, like, right? No, like of course.
I'm very interested to see, but I do feel like there is going to be overlap with it. And again, we keep talking about Elaine and Azriel. We don't know what, maybe she does fall in love with Lucian. We have no idea, but I'm very team Elaine and Azriel. And obviously if they do go down that path, more is going to be involved no matter what.
Right.
Because of, so like, I feel like the next book could tie all of that together.
I kind of forgot about that.
Right?
That whole like Azriel being in love with her.
Still currently technically in love with Moore.
Oh my god, I'm gagged.
I also love like when they use her full name, like Morgan.
Morgan. I wish they called her Morgan more.
I know. I love it.
Not more. Morgan.
A
lot. You know what I'm trying to say.
More frequently.
More frequenter. I don't know what I'm saying.
It's the deficit.
But yeah, I loved that. I mean, up until there was a part where Nesta and Moore have like a moment and she's like, you can call me Moore. But like, I loved that Nesta called her Moore again.
Speaking of a moment
yes.
with Nesta, the moment when Rhys realizes that Nesta is saving Feyre and the baby, and he is like, as she calls him, or I'm pretty sure, doesn't she think in her head, or does she say to him like, you're my brother, or like something, like, I was weeping like nobody's business.
No, I didn't cry as much in this book as I did Wings and Ruin. I cried so much during Wings and Ruin, but like during that part, because at that point, again, I was expecting somebody to die. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought it was gonna be Feyre. Like, I thought Feyre was gonna die. Like, I was like we haven't focused in on her a lot. Like, we kind of took ourselves out of Feyre's like storyline a bit, and like can't get rid of Rhys. Yeah. Like that's just the way life works. Can't get rid of Rhys. And I was like, maybe the baby, but like then Rhys would need the baby if Feyre's not there. Like but then Rhys would have died because Feyre died. So I was like trying to figure out what was going on. And then when she started doing all that freaking crazy stuff, and I think she looks at him and she's like, that's my brother, or like something like that. And I was like, are you kidding me, Nesta? Like, talk about a character arc. Like, again, I know I already said it, but like she was at the tip of the mountain at that point. I was like, you gave up everything for your sister, and like after everything she gave up to you, like the full circle moment, like she gave up so much when they were poor, and then like Nesta, just love it.
And then also that like clears Nesta's conscience. Like, it's just amazing. And what frustrates me so much, because I told you from day one I was a Nesta girly. Yeah. Like, I loved that bitch. What frustrated me so much is, yes, was she annoying? Was she going through it? Yes. But she was so valid to be traumatized after everything that happened to her and her family. Like,
yeah, absolutely. So valid.
Then what was so frustrating is, and granted, I think the way they handled it, like putting her in The House of Wind, like all that stuff. I thought that was like she was going down a really dark path. Like I thought that was necessary. But you had like Cassian who fell off the rails for what, a decade?
Yeah.
Like, and then everyone's getting so frustrated with Nesta, and everyone, I've seen so many like Nesta haters, and I'm like, why does everyone else get to have their moment and like experience their emotions and their traumas in their way, but like she can't?
Yeah. Like, and I think the main part of that was the way she was emoting.
Yeah.
Like, it was just the fact that she was doing it in like a disastrous kind of way. Like everybody else, like maybe. And also Cassian's a man. Like if he's gonna go out and just like have sex with women, like nobody's gonna say anything. But of course the second Nesta's running around going like, I'm gonna go sleep with somebody today, everybody's like, oh my god, Nesta, you can't do that. But like her entire life got flipped upside down. And like I get it. And that's why I was like giving her the time of day in this book. Like, yes, it took a little bit of time. And like Elaine had her moment too, where she was like barely speaking to anybody. And then she started like, she found like her niche and whatever. But like, I'm like, her dad died in front of her. Like, granted, yes, I know that there were 2 other sisters that lost their dad, but like she was the oldest. Like she's like really has a lot of repressed trauma that she was dealing, like everything was brought up to the top,
and she really didn't get any opportunity. Everyone talks about how she was like her mother's favorite. She was so close with her mother. She lost her mother, then she had all this resentment to her dad, then she was so grateful for him, and then he died in front of her. She got no opportunity to like fix that relationship. Then she's taking on all the guilt from Feyre kind of being their support system. Like, girl, you are allowed to be traumatized. Like,
it's
I
okay.
would be too. Like,
I know. That's why I was like kind of like I agree. Like I was kind of like, give her a break.
Yeah.
Like, come on. But then but then she'd go and do something stupid, and I'm like, Nesta, baby, what are you doing?
And that's why like I fully see the other side, because I saw some like people that were like hardcore Nesta truthers being like, well, they had to do all this shit for her because she was going off the rails.
Right.
And I'm like, that's also valid. Like, this is also very true.
Yeah. It's, but like it all worked out because she got super freaking, and I loved I like to get into like a little bit more of like the deep metaphors of things, but like the stairs was like such a big thing for her. And like her constantly running down the stairs and not making it, and like getting farther and farther and farther. And I was like, God, I can't wait for her to make it down these stairs. And then she like gets down the stairs just out of pure rage or something with Amryn, and then she can't get down it again. She's just like, oh my god, do I always have to be angry to make it out of here? And then she learns that she can do it, and then she's like, okay, I did it. Now I just proved to myself that I just did it, and I'm just gonna go walk back up these stairs. And I'm like,
the moment that she made it out on her own and like didn't go to the bar, didn't go back off the rails, I was just like, my queen.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. I love her so much.
I can't wait to see in the next book, because obviously it's not going to be Nesta and Cassie in focus, but like we're going to get bits of them, and I'm just so excited to see like where their relationship at now that like she's really overcome a lot of her trauma. They're happy, they're mated and married and wonderful.
And she even said like we could have a baby. And like she's like, obviously not right now, but like Cassian as a dad, and also them all moving into that era of like Rhys being a dad, Cassian being dad. I don't know about Asriel, but like maybe he ends up being like, there's like a whole new era. And I feel like also, not that we grew up with these characters because we've just read these books, but like that's like kind of like the direction we're going in, right? It's like we have friends who are becoming parents and like getting married and like all this kind of stuff.
All of my friends smell like weed or little babies.
All my friends smell like weed or little babies. I was not in key at all. I'm so sorry. That was really bad.
It's okay.
But yeah, overall, I loved this series. I'm so excited for the next book to come out. You guys can't see it, but I got Fourth Wing and Iron Flame right there. I'm going to start that next. I'm very excited about that as well because I've heard it's very Game of Thrones-y.
Interesting.
Because there's like dragons and shit. So
I can't wait.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure out where we're going with our book talk segment moving forward to.
I didn't ask you.
Sam is going to be taking on Fourth Wing, which is on my list. It is so hard. I'm reading 2 just like normal fiction books. It's taking me they're a gajillion times shorter than these, and they're taking me a lifetime longer.
Well, yeah, I do have None of This Is True that I want to read.
That one you'll finish quick. That one was phenomenal.
I have, it's like sitting on like my bedside table right now, but I'm like really hyper fixated on Fourth Wing, and I'm like, I think I just need to bang out these 2 books, because then I think the 3rd book comes out in January, I've heard.
Oh,
so
good. Awesome.
So I'm like, that book I know for sure will be out next at some point soon, and then I'll start doing like my standalones.
Yeah, no, I'm reading The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley right now, and it's great. It's like a whodunit murder
Love.
mystery.
Love.
It's set in Paris, like phenomenal. However, I'm just kind of like, my brain wants to be in the fantasy mode and like to be in a world, so it's really hard to be wrapped up in it. And so I brought that for your bachelorette trip. I'm like halfway through it right now. And then the other one I brought a backup just in case I do finish it. 'Cause like once the deficit's working and I sit down and read it, I do get through it quickly.
Yeah, it's so fast.
I just haven't been able to pick it up.
Yeah.
And then I also brought Layla by Colleen Hoover, and these are 2 that like were recommended to me by other people.
Okay.
That I'm trying to bang out. However, the last Colleen Hoover I read, and I'm not a Colleen Hoover hater by any stretch of the imagination. However, after reading these, going back to Colleen Hoover,
It's tough.
it's hard.
Yeah.
It does not hit in the same way that it did before.
What was the last Colleen Hoover book that you read?
I read November 9th.
Oh, okay. Was it good?
No. And again,
Okay.
I'm not a Colleen Hoover hater. I just didn't like this one. I liked like the general gist of it.
Okay.
But the main male character, I think, was a walking red flag.
Oh,
And like
yikes.
not in the hot way, in like the annoying way.
Not in the hot red flag way, like in the other type of red flag way.
Yeah, and like I was just like, bro,
Yeah,
like,
yikes.
do you want me to give you the premise of it?
Yeah, sure. I'm probably not going to read it, so.
It is a girl who's growing up. Her dad's like a famous actor.
Okay.
And she was like a child star. But her and her dad had issues. She was staying at his house one night. His place catches on fire. She was there so rarely that he forgot she was there, and she gets burns on. Yeah.
Oh
And
my
then
God. Does
her
it happen on November 9th?
Yes, it happens on November 9th.
Amazing.
And then on the anniversary, she goes out to meet her father. Her father like forgets that it's the anniversary and is saying all this fucked up shit to her about how like her career's over and like she needs to go in another direction because she's burned, so like she won't be able to be an actress anymore. And then this guy Ben jumps in and like pretends to be her boyfriend and like helps her. And so like that's the love story, because like Colleen Hoover always has the love story, so it's him and her. But there's just like a lot of fucked up shit that happens with Ben and her that like I do not like.
Yikes.
So
I feel ya.
yeah.
I didn't like, I haven't read a lot of Colleen Hoover, so I can't really have an opinion on her. I've only read 2 or 3 Colleen Hoover books, but I read Verity, which we've both read.
Loved Verity.
And like Verity was good. Like the concept of it was good. The story was good. I loved the creepy aspect of it. But I did not like the main male protagonist. I thought he was really annoying. And I don't know. Like I wasn't like, oh wow, I hope they like get together. Like I was just like, oh, he's here again? Like damn. And he was like a main part of the story. Yes. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of the way she writes women either. Like I feel like she does. But again, I haven't read enough Colleen Hoover to like really.
Well, that was in November 9th. I got like a really big feel of that with just like the way she was like portraying her with her burns. Like,
oh, like it was all about her looks kind of thing.
Yes. And like there is a bigger meaning, but like I don't know, I just feel like it wasn't like the concept was great, the story was great, but I just feel like it wasn't executed in the best way that it could have been. Mm-hmm. And yeah, now I'm wondering because like obviously I read It Ends With Us, Verity, Ugly Love. These are all books, reminders of him. These are reminders of him I thought was okay. The other ones I thought were great. And now I'm like, if I read them today for the first time, would I even like them in the same way that I did initially?
I see. Yeah, it's like your whole aspect of, or just everything just is changing after reading this. Like her writing is so good, and the way that she builds her worlds is so good, and I'm literally like, I think that's why everyone's so addicted to it.
Yes.
Like it's just so well written, and like you really feel like in it.
And I think she does such a good job, and we talked about it a little bit with this one, where like she does whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Like I feel like in a lot of series, it's like the first book is super dramatic and great, and then every book is kind of like forcing things to continue on.
Yes.
Where the first book is literally just setting everything up for the journey. So like it gets better and better and better, and then you get attached to these characters, then you switch like like it's just extremely well done, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to get through these last 2 nonfiction ones that I have. I'm going to try and get through another Colleen Hoover. Once I get through this, it'll probably be the last Colleen Hoover. I think I'm done. And then I'm going to start Throne of Glass.
Amazing. I think Erin is starting Crescent City already.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She's going to finish Crescent City and Throne of Glass before
Yeah, I know. Before I even
can get
buy
through
the books.
these 2 fiction books.
No, she's gonna fly through it. But are you gonna see the Ends With Us movie? I was seeing a lot of stuff about it on Instagram recently.
I am going to see it. I'm not too excited about it.
Really?
I'm not, just because I pictured the characters, they were so, and this is nothing against Blake Lively, who is an absolute queen and a wonderful woman, but I just pictured them so differently.
Okay.
And like when I was reading them, again, this was like, I've always been a reader, but this is when I started like binge reading, and It Ends With Us was one of those first books that like I was like, oh my god. I was also reading it when I was heartbroken, which I think played a factor.
Okay.
But I was so attached to the characters, and like now looking at, like, they do not match at all what I had in my head. So it's really weird, but I'm going to see it. I'm going to try going into it with an open mind.
Okay.
And then we'll give our review.
I feel like it'd be interesting if like we both saw it and did a review, and it's like someone who didn't read the book and someone who did.
Yes, I would love to do that.
Yeah, I think that's it. When is it supposed to come out?
I have literally no idea.
Cool. Love that for us.
Yeah.
But we'll find out, and we'll do a fun little movie talk segment instead of a book talk segment.
Movie talk. And we'll continue book talk. We'll give you updates on what we're reading and everything.
Once I read None of This Is True, we'll have a book talk segment at that, because you've read that book.
Yes. And then you're going to do, my plan is to do Fourth Wing at some point.
Right.
So we'll get there.
It'll be interesting to do this backwards. Like,
I know.
for me to be the one that's like listening to you read the book for the first time.
I
So
know.
I would love to hear. I would love that.
Oh my god, well, we're going to get it.
Well, I got to read these books first.
Well, I got Throne of Glass. You got plenty of time.
Okay.
I got an 8-book series.
Well, yeah. It's a lot of pages. Michael was even impressed with how fast I read these books. He was literally like, you are just blazing through these. And these are not for the faint of heart.
They are. I keep telling Brian that he should read them.
I told Michael to read them too. He doesn't want to.
Yes, he's like, they're too big, they're intimidating. And I'm like, but they don't feel big when you're reading them.
That's what she said. I'm sorry.
You had to. You
I
had to.
They don't feel big when they're there in your hands.
Yeah. They're intimidating.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. On that note,
I'm in bachelorette mode.
We are in bachelorette mode. We are going to start preparing for 3, 2, 1.
Florida.
If you liked our first in-person podcast episode, make sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe to us here. Check out all of the other videos that we have posted. We got something for everyone this week.
We
have
really
the
do.
book talk. We have the Taylor Swift. We have the NFL draft. All things good and holy. Make sure to find us on all of our socials at the _podcast for TikTok, Instagram, and Threads. Find us on Twitter at Sam and Jordyn. And again, always find us wherever you get your audio podcasts as well. And we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming next week post Bachelorette trip. And I'm sure we will have
Recap epi.
loads and loads of stories for you next week. So make sure to tune back in.
Bye.
Bye.